Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, finally. After so many months of promising and debating and needing some time, it's been a very busy year for me. Very different year compared to others for obvious reasons. Here I am. And the name of my YouTube channel is going to be J-Talk. Jonathan, J-Talk. It's going to be J-Talk when I'm on set. But when I'm off set with other people, Pablo and Bianca, my two cousins that will be joining me on the show, it's going to be PB and J-Talk. They're currently catering to other issues right now, so they will be joining me next week. But pretty much what you can expect from this YouTube channel is a lot of topics, plethora of topics, but specifically football. Football is my domain. I really enjoy football. I watch it. I got NFL Sunday ticket. I play fantasy. I do all the good stuff. I even work for a football website called Walk the Mock. You basically do scouting reports and mock drafts on incoming college players for NFL teams. So the three topics that we're going to be covering today, we're going to do my picks for week 13. We're going to definitely go a little in depth on those picks. The second topic is actually going to be about Justin Herbert. I think he has to be the surprise offensive rookie of the year. I mean, I don't think if you ask people before the draft who they thought the offensive rookie of the year was, they're going to say Joe Burrow hands down. Unfortunately, he had an injury. He was very much on his way to compete with Justin Herbert for that offensive rookie of the year. Now, Justin Herbert's going to run away with it. And the third topic is actually going to be a mock draft, surprise team. And it includes a trade. Maybe a controversial one for fans of that team, but trust me, it'll all make sense. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and pull up the picks for week 13. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen. The picks for week 13 for a season that has just been so volatile with a bunch of emotions, whether it's happy, sad, undecisive, and all the changes that go along with this NFL season due to COVID-19. Some players opting out, other guys that we've never heard of getting a shot to prove themselves. It's going to change the landscape of professional sports. This pandemic changed the landscape for professional sports for a long time, forever, really. There's just going to be so many guys that we see come into the league that were probably overlooked, underlooked, you name it. And it's been a pretty crazy year, let's be honest, just with everything, all the events, not just COVID. There's been so many other events. But let's focus on this though right now. I could go on forever about talking about this crazy year. The history books on this year are going to be this thick, I promise you. So the week 13 picture right here, we got the winners. I have the New Orleans Saints beating the Atlanta Falcons. I really do like Taysom Hill in this matchup. You got Alvin Kamara, you got Michael Thomas. You're looking pretty solid. I know they lost one of their offensive tackles, but I feel like with such a surplus of talent on that team, there should be no problem against a struggling Atlanta Falcons team. I know the Falcons came off a pretty big win, though, by the way. And they've been doing decently okay with their new interim head coach, which I understand would probably contradict my comment before struggling. But let's be honest, there have been a lot of blown leads this year by the Atlanta Falcons. Not good. Second winner we have of the week is the Detroit Lions beating the Chicago Bears. I think this is a little self-explanatory. The Bears have a quarterback carousel going on. Their offense isn't very potent. Their defense literally saves them from being even a worse team. The Lions, as long as they have Matthew Stafford, they will always be in it. The Miami Dolphins will beat the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. Really, no explanation needed. The Dolphins have a really good defense, and I'll just leave it at that. The Minnesota Vikings take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I expect this to be actually a closer game than what the spread may indicate. But I still have the Minnesota Vikings beating the Jaguars for a variety of reasons, but mainly because at least the Vikings have a very good offensive attack with Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, the 1-2 punch. And the Jaguars are still trying to find their quarterback. Seems like Gardner Minshew mania may be over. I don't know. I think he's still a good developmental prospect, 6th-round pick. That contract is cheap. I would really try to work with him if I was the Jaguars front office. We'll see what happens. But yes, I have the Vikings still winning. Close game, but I still have them winning. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on the New York Jets, the winless New York Jets. I know the Raiders dropped the ball a little bit last week and just got thumped by the Atlanta Falcons. I expect them to bounce back. Their playoff hopes, their playoff lifeline depends on this game. This is a winnable game. This can be classified as a trap game because you're playing an inferior opponent. We'll see. I have the Raiders taking care of business. We'll see what happens. Denzel Mims, though, that is a player to watch. He is my sleeper pick of the week. That is one physical wide receiver. He has put up at least 10 fantasy points the past 2 games. He was dealing with an injury. He just recently started playing about 3 weeks ago. Keep an eye on him and see how he develops as a wide receiver in the NFL. I think this is his learning year, obviously. It's his rookie season. I feel like he can be a threat for years to come. We'll see what happens. They need to figure out that situation at quarterback. That's for a different topic for a later day. Moving on, Indianapolis Colts taking on the Houston Texans. I have the Colts winning this one. I think it's going to be a close game. It's always a close game between these two division bitter rivals. I know the Texans season hasn't gone the way they planned, but with that being said, it's Phillip Rivers really wanting that last chance at getting a ring. This is his best chance now. This is his best chance. Obviously, you guys know in that quarterback class, you had Eli Manning, you had Ben Roethlisberger, and you had Phillip Rivers. He's the only quarterback out of those 3 that has not won a Super Bowl yet. I think he had plenty of teams in San Diego when he was out here to win one. I'm rooting for him. We'll see what happens. I have the Colts winning this one. Close game, but I have them winning. Los Angeles Rams beating the Arizona Cardinals. The reason why this happens is because it's just a mismatch when it comes to the defensive line of the Rams and the offensive line for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a good team. Make no mistake about it. Kyler Murray is a baller. I'm glad he chose football over baseball. But with that being said, they're a player or two. You almost feel like they're a player or two away from really making a legit Super Bowl run. The Rams are kind of there. I feel like they need a better, more stable quarterback. Maybe Jared Goff can step it up these next couple weeks and maybe into the playoffs. I feel like once Jared Goff has a good game, the Rams usually win these games. They're a good team. As a Seahawks fan, I have to fully admit the Rams are a good and fun team to watch. And let's not forget, Aaron Donald on that defensive line eats up those offensive linemen on any team. And Jalen Ramsey, he puts the clamps down on wide receivers and my boy DK Metcalf. The next game, we have the Green Bay Packers taking the W against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, 2 words, Aaron Rodgers. He's going to lead them to victory. That franchise evolves around Aaron Rodgers. I know they took a quarterback this year in the first round. I think that was to motivate Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he got a little complacent. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. The next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks beating the New York Giants. The Daniel Jones-less New York Giants they're going to be led by Colt McCoy. For those of you who don't know, that man played for the Cleveland Browns, played for the Redskins. He played for Texas during his college days. He's been a journeyman quarterback. I don't see him beating Russell Wilson, who is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL right now. Not a chance. And you're going to Seattle. Good luck. Lock of the week. So I do a little segment on my thing called Lock of the Week, where it's literally this game's a lock. I know no game is ever won on paper, but this, when I put some team on Lock of the Week, they're winning it. I don't care what happens, who's playing, they're winning it. You know, nothing short of John Elway coming out of retirement and getting like 20 or 30 years younger. There's no chance that the Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs. That Kansas City Chiefs offense is just too potent. So many playmakers. If you double Tyreek Hill, that leaves Travis Kelce open. If you double Travis Kelce, that leaves Tyreek Hill open. If you injure one of them, that leaves Sammy Watkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, plethora of other players to go to. And then if all those guys are out, you got Patrick freaking Mahomes, absolute rocket for an arm, and just great quarterback IQ. Nothing we've ever seen before. The next game is my upset alert. I get the Cleveland Browns beating the Tennessee Titans. Kind of like the Rams game, this one is also a matchup. This is a favorable matchup for the Cleveland Browns. First of all, let's get one thing straight. The Tennessee Titans lack a pass rush. They're a solid team that has flaws. They're very blatant flaws. They struggle on third down. They don't have a great pass rush. And I feel like inconsistent quarterback play can hurt them sometimes. I know Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback now. He wasn't very good during his Adam Gase days in Miami, but he has gotten a lot better. Much respect to him. I know the Tennessee Titans have A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry. I still think Cleveland takes this win, though. I like Nick Chubb. I like Jarvis Landry, and I like Baker in this situation. With no pass rush, he's going to have time to throw, and that is an improved offensive line for the Cleveland Browns. Like I said earlier, my sleeper pick of the week was Denzel Mims. Just keep an eye on him. If you have a keeper league, I hope you took this man. He could definitely pay dividends for years to come. So now moving on to our next topic, it's Mr. Justin Herbert, the man who's taken the NFL by storm, the quarterback from Oregon. Once a kid, he actually predicted he would be living in Los Angeles and playing for the Chargers. Now, I guess his dream is reality because here he is, and he is tearing it up. So he has a game against the New England Patriots. Yes, I understand Bill Belichick is 20-5 against rookie quarterbacks, and I have the Patriots winning this game. As a matter of fact, did I go over the Patriots? I did not include the Patriots in my pick. But I probably going to make some changes to that. I apologize ahead of time. But here we're going to go in depth on this game. So I think Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. I'm going to be honest, I was pretty hard on him during the draft process. I wasn't very high on him during when I was doing my mock drafts. Kind of had a bust written on him a little bit. He's definitely proven me wrong, and I'll go ahead and admit that 100%. I don't mind admitting I'm wrong. So you have his projections here, right here. He could have one of the most prolific seasons for a rookie wide receiver that we've ever seen. He would beat Andrew Luck's passing yards record by, I believe, 17 yards. And he would surpass Baker Mayfield's touchdown record by 6. So he is on track to have a pretty memorable rookie season, and honestly would be a top-notch season for any standard of a quarterback. With that being said, though, this weekend is going to be rough for him. I feel like Bill Belichick he knows how to win, especially in the month of December. I don't see him dropping this game against a struggling Chargers team. And I feel like the Chargers struggle more on the coaching side rather than the player side. I feel like the players themselves, I feel like the Chargers have a more talented roster. They don't feel like a 3-8 team to me. They really don't. You got Joey Bosa leading that defensive unit, And then you got the amount of stars on that offensive side of the ball: Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. And then their backups too are pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The Chargers have always been, to me, kind of a cursed franchise. I've seen it firsthand. Somebody who's from San Diego watched the San Diego Chargers all the time when they were here. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on in LA, but something needs to change. Maybe Bill Belichick comes to Los Angeles next year. Maybe he's the coach there. We'll see how they finish out. I will see how the Patriots finish out, though. Let's focus on this game. Patriots are going to win this game. Patriots are going to beat the Chargers. Hands down. I know they're not favorited, but I can guarantee you this defense will dominate the San Diego Chargers. Let's not forget J.C. Jackson, leader in picks right now, 7 interceptions. That's insane. That's insane. He is a dark horse for the defensive player of the year. Moving on to the mock draft. So I did mine on the Cincinnati Bengals. And Walk the Mock, by the way, guys, you should definitely check it out. I work for these guys. I'm one of the scouts. 100% check it out. It's honestly one of the best mock draft websites out there. No ads. And just, it's always updated information. We have articles on there. Check it out. Check it out. Subscribe too. It's a great, I know, I mean, if you're really into it, it's only a little bit of money. It's totally worth it. Trust me. Without further ado, though, here's my mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals with a trade at the end. You'll see what happened. You're like, where are the 6th and 7th picks? We're going to get to that. So with the first round pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Jamar Chase. Let's reunite Joe Burrow with one of his favorite targets back in the good old 2019 LSU days, where they were the top dogs in all of college football, probably in college football history. Joe Burrow had one of the most prolific seasons by any quarterback ever in college, and some of it had to do with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I mean, they had a ton of guys on that offensive side of the ball that are now pros in the NFL. The second round pick that they have, they need to upgrade on the offensive line. They get Liam Ichenberg from Notre Dame. So let me tell you guys something. For me personally, when I do these mock drafts, I'm not going to lie, I definitely favor the Notre Dame offensive linemen. I feel like they just have great offensive linemen. I mean, Zach Martin, Ronnie Stanley, Quentin Nelson, and there's others out there that have really they're good offensive linemen. They breed offensive linemen. So when you have Notre Dame offensive linemen available in a draft, you take a chance on them. Alex Bars, too, undrafted free agent from Notre Dame, currently starting on that Chicago Bears offensive line. I'm telling you, they're a talented group of young men, and they always do work in the NFL, whether it's for 2 years or 10 years or 15 years. They always produce. Third round pick, and we're staying in Notre Dame with this teammate that blocks right next to him, Tommy Kramer. Some people have a day 1 grade on Tommy Kramer. Here he drops to day 3, actually, in the 3rd round. And yeah, I think this is a great pickup. It definitely has good implications for Joe Burrow's career. If they're able to make these moves, it gives him support. Part of the reason why he got injured was just the pass rush was after him. Honestly, I hope he recovers completely. He's such a bright young star. Personally, one of my favorite players to watch. The other third round pick that they got was Lorenzo Neal Jr. This was part of the trade that I'm going to tell you guys at the end. Lorenzo Neal Jr., for you football heads, that is Lorenzo Neal's son, Hall of Fame fullback. Well, should be Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame fullback, eventually future Hall of Fame fullback, Lorenzo Neal, who blocked for LT, for so many years in San Diego and played plethora of other teams. That's his son. His son's a beast, plays for Purdue, pretty good at football, defensive lineman. I would love to see how he develops into a player. One thing for me personally, also with these mock drafts, is that I definitely draft former players' sons or family members because they already have an edge that others don't, in the sense of they already know what to kind of expect. They know all the ins and outs without actually being in. That makes sense. They're not, obviously they're kids. They're not going to be in the NFL, but they're learning from their parents or their uncles, whoever played in the NFL. They're learning. Fourth pick, well, technically fifth pick, but in the fourth round, Luke Farrell, tight end, Ohio State. I know his numbers aren't flashy, but he's a 6'6" tight end. Hands could use a little more work. Maybe he's a blocking tight end, I guess, in some schemes. I mean, they got a decent running attack, but when you got Joe Burrow in the back, you're definitely going to want to pass. So, here best is just best player. They needed to fill a need, and it was Luke Farrell. Maybe he does some work. Maybe he just emerges as a stud tight end in the NFL, as many players emerge as studs when they weren't really studs in college. It's crazy to see. And then you see studs in college turn to duds in the NFL. And with the final pick of this 2021 Cincinnati Bengals mock draft 1.0, we have Elijah Molden, the cornerback from Washington. He's a senior right now. With the COVID-riddled college season, it's really tough to get a gauge on these guys. He is their cornerback number 2, but he does make plays. I've watched a couple of their games on the West Coast. Let me tell you, the Washington defense is not bad. They're not bad. I know they may not be as flashy as your Alabamas, your LSUs, your SEC teams, but I'm going to tell you right now, cornerbacks in Washington are typically decent. You got Kevin King in the NFL who's thriving, and you got Byron Murphy as well, who's doing a pretty good job in Arizona. So that's just a couple things to keep in mind. You got a good value pick right here with the last pick of this draft. So now the question is, okay, where did that extra third round pick come from, and where did our 6 and 2 7s go? I'm glad you asked. It went to Denver. And you're like, okay, well, what did we have to give up? Because I know that trade right there is unfair. I'm glad you asked. The Cincinnati Bengals gave up Geno Atkins. You're like, why would you do this? He's a staple of the franchise. He's all this and all that. I completely understand. Look, it's a new regime in Cincinnati. I know Geno Atkins is nostalgic, but he's not going to win games now. You got to dump that contract. I have the contract pulled up right here. You got to dump some of this money, take a little bit of that cap hit, and invest more on this offensive line and build around Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to be the man to take you to the promised land. I promise you that. He's probably going to be one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in Cincinnati if he gets some type of protection. And that's a pretty big deal, thinking about some of the other quarterbacks that have played in Cincinnati, Carson Palmer, and let's not forget the most often overlooked quarterback of all time, in my opinion, in Ken Anderson, who to me is a Canton quarterback. I don't know what's going on there. I have no idea. He beat Dan Fouts in a pretty big game, 1981 AFC Championship game and he's been in the Super Bowl. I don't know why he doesn't get any love. We'll see what happens. Anywho, Geno Atkins gets dumped off to Denver, and I think it's a great pick for Denver to kind of bolster up that defensive line just a little more. We'll see what happens. This is obviously a hypothetical, but as a GM of the Bengals, I would not have a problem shipping out Geno Atkins if I could get a third-round pick. So that is pretty much it on our segments today. I know this is a little bit of a shorter video. Look for the videos to be longer in time with more topics. once I have more of a cast. Um, this is a great first video, I feel, and I'm just glad to be able to start this journey and see where it takes me. I have a real passion for this. I personally, I feel my linguistic skills are pretty good. Um, and hopefully this maybe translates into something bigger than just a YouTube show. Without further ado, though, I would just like to thank everybody, for those of you who are going to watch it. And thank you for those who always swiped up on my Snapchat and told me I need to create a YouTube. They really enjoyed watching me. That really motivated me to do this, push through, because not only am I doing it for myself, I'm doing it for people that actually enjoy watching my content. And hopefully this is entertaining. So I'm signing off from J-Talk, Jonathan Velasquez. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe rest of your weekend. Tune in next Saturday around 8 p.m. Pacific time to catch my Week 14 video of the NFL.